Good morning, and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck and Becky Peterson, the Beck and Beck team at Windermere Real Estate on News Talk KGVO. And all the years we've been doing this show, we've never done a program that addresses all of you homeowners and renters that have pets, your doggies and kitties and I don't know what all, but we're going to right that wrong today on the show with my guest, Cassidy Boland, hospital manager, and Dr. Nicole, veterinarian with Pryn's Veterinary Hospital. And Cassidy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I will start with you, the get acquainted part, your background, and what led you to Pryn Veterinary Hospital.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Denny.
Sure.
So when I first started at Pruyn Veterinary Hospital, I had an interest in going to veterinary school. I went to school here in Missoula, got my biology degree, and my passion for pets kind of translated into my passion for people. So my roles kind of changed pretty quickly at Pruyn. I went from working in the front office to being one of our technicians, and then jumped into a management role that kind of just escalated. So I'm able to do both, have my passion for pets and for people by being the hospital manager and be, part of a really awesome team there.
How about all of your duties as a hospital manager? I'm sure that's a pretty broad umbrella there.
It is, yeah. So I get to wear a lot of different hats. Obviously when it comes to staff management, facilities and maintenance managing, kind of the vision planning for our hospital, financials and operations, and then as well as obviously recruitment as well.
All right. Dr. Nicole, welcome to you.
Thanks for having us, Denny.
What led you to the veterinarian profession?
So as a little girl, I've always loved animals, and it sounds pretty cliche, but that's something I knew I always wanted to do since being a little girl. And I'm a Montana girl too. I grew up in Superior, Montana, so just down the road. And I attended the University of Montana here as well for my undergrad. So just fell in love with the area, and I knew I wanted to come back and serve this area. So that's what led me to Pruyn.
As a veterinarian, you completed an undergraduate degree at UM. Where did you have to go from there?
And then I went over to Oregon State University in Corvallis, Oregon, which was very fun. Oregon's a beautiful state, but doesn't beat Montana.
Okay, all right. Day-to-day duties as a veterinarian, I'm sure that changes every day, but kind of an overview of what all you do.
Yeah, it's never boring in the day or vet life, but duties range, caring for pets and their clients ranges from anything as simple as preventative care up to emergency care or surgeries and everything in between.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck and Becky Peterson, the Beck and Beck team at Windermere Real Estate here on News Talk KGVO. My guests, Cassidy Boland and Dr. Nicole with Pryn's Veterinary Hospital. And Cassidy, I'll get it back to you. Give us a radio tour of the facility. I know this isn't the original Pryn's. Don't know how long it's been there. I'm sure you can help me with that. But give us a tour of the facility, what we'll find when we come through the doors.
Yeah, of course. So, we're really fortunate. We were able to upgrade our building about 2.5 years ago. So we actually have a really open lobby now. We have a pretty decent sized front desk area that our client service representatives are going to greet you at. We have a separate area for our feline friends. Being able to separate our dogs and our cats kind of eases the anxiety of the veterinary experience. Yeah. We know how anxious pets can be when they walk through the door, so that was really important to us.
Yeah, you don't want a place where fights break out in a 20 square foot waiting area. Been there.
It's been quite the upgrade. So we're also really fortunate to have 7 exam rooms. One of them is actually kind of designated for quality of life conversations and, when a family decides that it's time to say goodbye to their pet and for them to cross the Rainbow Bridge, as we call it. Yeah. So they have a little bit more privacy on a different side of the building. We have 2 dental suites. So a lot of people might not be under the impression that dentistry is so important in your pets just as much as it is in people. So we're really fortunate to have 2 of those. Wow. And then we have 2 operating rooms, an x-ray room, pharmacy and laboratory area, and then what we consider our treatment area, which is typically where you're going to find our doctors, our technicians, our assistants, and that's kind of where we take our pets to do our procedures as well.
Right. Well, you care, of course, for more than dogs and cats. Any unusual or exotic animals you've had brought into Pruyn, so we're a little bit out of the normal routine, shall we say?
Yeah, we've seen some pretty cool pets in the past. I will say our biggest focus is on dogs and cats for the most part. We don't get to see a lot of crazy exotics around here, but occasionally we'll have a chinchilla come in. Sometimes like bearded dragons are really cool. Some of those things that are kind of out of the ordinary. So, back in the past when we were at our old building, I know we had a wallaby, we had an Arctic fox. So some cool things like that, as long as people have proper licenses and stuff like that, it's really fun to see.
How about you, Dr. Nicole? Somebody brings in a bearded dragon or something like that, and we know it's sick, but we don't know what's wrong. Well, in all my years of experience with bearded dragons, I can tell you this: that's got to be a bit of a challenge for a veterinarian too.
Yeah, it definitely is a challenge. Every species is different with what types of treatments you can do. One medication works for one dog or cat, but could kill the other species. So you have to be very careful with that. And we have designated vets at the clinic that do like to see those exotics and love it, and so that's where we refer them to.
Yeah.
Well, Pruyn's big proponents of annual checkups. I imagine, and not out of cruelty, it's just one of those. I imagine a lot of people just don't think about that for their pets. They don't mean any ill will or intent to the animal,
Right.
but folks don't think about that product quite like they think about people in annual checkups.
Right. And, it's very important to do those. And the reason why is so we can catch things early, so we can manage them and treat them. Because the longer you wait and catch those things, the harder it is going to be to treat it. Also, our pets, they can't tell us if they hurt or feel a little off or don't have enough energy. And so that's the point of our physicals, is so we can try to catch those things. It's just like the physicals that we get. I start head to toe. You check their teeth, you check their ears, eyes, heart, lungs, lymph nodes. I feel their belly. I'm feeling for any pain or masses in their belly. I'm checking new lumps or bumps that they have, and so on. And so these check-ins, I also want to see how are they doing at home? What's their diet? How's their body condition? So there's a lot that goes into it, and so that's the importance of doing those screenings.
Yeah, I want to do a little bit deeper dive on some of that right now. Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck and Becky Peterson. And Beck team at Windermere Real Estate here on News Talk KGVO. My guests, two of them today, Cassidy Boland, hospital manager, and Dr. Nicole, veterinarian with Veterinary Hospital. Let's go over some of those, Nicole, some of the many services you offer with some more details on each, if you would. And might as well start with diet and nutrition advice and programs and why that's so important.
Yeah, very important. Every animal is different depending on their lifestyle, their metabolism, allergies, any comorbidities or other diseases that they might have. And just like in people, some diets work for some people and not for others. So our job is really to work with the owners and try to find the best diet that's suited to their pet's lifestyle. The diet you feed your pet, it can cause some serious health problems down the road too. For example, one of the common things that we run into is those grain-free diets. Some people we used to think that they were good for dogs, but then research came out later and we actually found that it can lead to some heart disease called dilated cardiomyopathy. Basically, it's just a big dilated heart that can't pump blood out appropriately. So unless your dog is known to have a grain allergy, we actually recommend staying away from those diets. So that's just an example of some different advice that we can give them.
Not asking you to do any endorsement here, but I would imagine a lot of patients, people on behalf of their patients ask what types of foods Pruyn's might recommend?
Yeah, the main recommendation, if they're like puppies, we want them to be on a puppy-specific food so it has all the nutritional requirements so they can grow appropriately. And same thing, once they hit about a year old, then you transition over to the adult dog food. And then when they get to be geriatric, so that could be anywhere from like 6-7 years old, depending on the breed. But then we recommend switching over to those senior diets. And there's a million brands out there. Don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
The brands that we do like are like Purina, Royal Canin, or Hill Science Diet. I know they have vets on their team, so you're getting good quality food.
How about dentistry? I know one of you two brought this up a few minutes ago, but I'm sure that's always a good time, right?
Right.
Working, yes.
Doing a little dental work on the pet.
Right. And dental health, it's definitely something that we've been talking about more and more in the vet world. We always thought it was more important for people, but now we're translating that into the veterinary medicine world.
Why is that, do you think?
Just because it's almost like we're a step behind human medicine. And I think, now that people love their pets, some of them, their pets, they're like their children. And so we just want to provide the best care. And so that's why we're trying to step up to the level that we are giving people. And I mean, pets deserve that too.
Yeah. So what's involved with animal dentistry?
So animal dentistry, I mean, it's good just having good oral health. It sets our pets up for success down the road. Once tartar starts to cake on, it works its way under the gum line, causes gum disease, bone loss. Roots can start to develop and get exposed. The tooth gets wiggly. All of that leads to discomfort and pain when they're eating. So another thing is dogs, they can fracture their teeth. Cats too. And when they fracture their teeth, they can't tell us it hurts. What that can lead to, besides just discomfort, is it can lead to a tooth root abscess down the road. And that might be a swelling that you notice below one of their eyes. So doing those dentals, we can try to screen for that, see if a tooth looks painful based on our oral exam that we do in the clinic, but also we can do dental cleanings where we take full mouth x-rays, just like what we do at our dentist.
Right.
Dental chews, enzymatic water additives, there's a lot of things over the counter that you can do at home as well.
Vaccinations, I'm sure that you recommend, just like with people, you were on a regular vaccination schedule, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. So we do the same thing with our dogs and cats and everybody else at the clinic. It's very important for prevention of a lot of those diseases that could be fatal. So at our clinic, like just dogs and cats, for example, which is the most common ones that we see. Dogs, the vaccines that we carry, we have rabies, our distemper parvo, which is a combo vaccine, lepto, which prevents leptospirosis, which is a disease that we do have in this area that can be spread through wildlife pee. Bordetella, which helps prevent kennel cough, which a lot of boarding facilities or groomers might require. We also carry some other ones that are not as common, but we have influenza vaccine and a rattlesnake vaccine. As well. And then cats, it's the rabies and FERCP, which is a combo vaccine, and the feline leukemia virus or FELV vaccine.
Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck and Becky Peterson, the Beck and Beck team at Windermere Real Estate here on News Talk KGVO. And my guest, Cassidy Boland, hospital manager, and Dr. Nicole, veterinarian with Pruyn's Veterinary Hospital. And we're talking to Dr. Nicole right now. You will see a couple of these stories, at least a few of these stories a month, Nicole, about the person that lost their dog, looked for him for 3 years, thought they'd never find him again. And lo and behold, they show up 3,000 miles away, so they tried to get. Why? Because they were microchipped. How big of a thing? I'm sure you really encourage that. How big of a thing is microchipping becoming, and how complicated is it?
Yeah, it's very common for us to microchip them. We can do it at the clinic. Sometimes, it's a quick procedure. It's a bigger needle that we inject the microchip under their skin, usually between their shoulder blades. So being a bigger needle, we try to wait until we neuter them or spay them when they're under anesthesia so they can't feel the poke. But we can do it when they're awake too. But it's just... that's why we're finding these pets 3,000 miles away, is because they have that microchip that's linked to the owner's contact information. So you're able to track them down. And any lost pet, every vet clinic, every shelter, they all have a microchip scanner that's universal. Right. So we can get in contact with the owner right away.
How small is that chip, and can it come out?
Great question. It's about the size of a grain of rice.
Wow.
So it's pretty small, but it is possible that they can migrate around. They usually don't fall out once they're in. The skin seals over pretty quickly, but they can migrate down. Some microchips we've found some that have fallen down to their leg. It just travels under the skin, but usually they're pretty stable when we give it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Urgent. Yeah, go ahead, Cassidy.
I was going to say, I did want to mention, there's a misconception about microchips too, that a lot of people, I've even had family members that say my pet microchipped. So, I can always know where they're at. And it's not a tracking device. A lot of people,
I get that.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to think that.
Yeah.
But a microchip is really, like Dr. Nicole mentioned, it's tied to your contact information. So if your pet does get lost, you can't, pull up your phone and know exactly where they're at. Yeah. But if able to find your pet, they can bring it to a facility that does have one of our microchip scanners and get that scanned in hopes that they can get, in contact with you. So another really important thing about microchipping is if you move, if your phone number changes, it's really, really important to make sure that your pet's microchip is updated with that new information as well. We've had times, unfortunately, that we've scanned a pet. Luckily, somebody's brought it in and done the right thing by finding us. Go to call the number, and unfortunately, it's out of service, or the owners have switched. And so it's really, really important to keep that information up to date.
That is a great point about those. Urgent care, what systems are in place for that with Pruyn's?
Yeah, so we always want to have open doors for our clients. So, if it's a true emergency, we do what we call stability checks. So we announce over the intercom that we have a stability check. All things are dropped at that time. We rush out there, make sure that the pet is stable. If they're not stable, we'll stabilize them. But if they do seem to be stable, then we'll find an appropriate time slot to have them seen.
Yeah, I think the big thing with our urgent care system is we want to make sure that every client has some peace of mind with getting their pets looked at. We are really fortunate to have 2 emergency facilities in town that see a lot of the urgent care appointments for Missoula. However, when it comes to our clients, if they are really concerned, we want them to know that we're going to be there to support them. Sometimes, pets come in and what we might consider an emergency for a pet, a veterinarian gives us that peace of mind of, hey, your pet's okay, we're going to get them looked at and make sure everything's good, but on physical, everything looks good right now. So that peace of mind is really important to us in making sure that our clients understand, what's a true emergency or, what can maybe wait a little bit, but we just want to make sure that our clients feel heard.
Have there been any recent breakthroughs in veterinary medicine that have impressed you or that you are really excited about these days? Yeah,
actually, we just got this brand new treatment. It's for parvovirus, which is something that we actually see quite often in this area. That's a disease that dogs, it causes vomiting, diarrhea, decreased appetite, and they get dehydrated so quick. And that's, that becomes fatal for them if they're not treated appropriately. So they just came out with this. It's the first USDA approved 1-dose treatment option. It's a parvovirus monoclonal antibody. It's approved for dogs that are 8 weeks of age and older. We just started carrying this at our clinic specifically. We're really excited to use it, but basically what it does is actually neutralizes the parvovirus, and then that way it helps speed up the recovery. It seems, from what we've heard, it seems to work best if you catch it soon and get this treatment started right away rather than waiting a few days down the road. So that's the important part about it, but yeah, brand new, so we're super excited about that treatment.
All right. What, don't want to put listeners on the spot, make them feel guilty or anything like that. But what are some common mistakes that pet owners make, maybe unwittingly, often unintentional, that might lead to them having to bring their pets into a veterinary hospital?
Yeah, great question. We do run into a few different things, but definitely with our recent hot streak we've been having with our weather, definitely with that, some things that you want to pay attention to or it's easy to forget about is just heat exhaustion or heat stress in our pets, leaving our pets in the cars. Those cars get really hot, and so you don't want to leave them in there when it's 90 degrees out. Burnt paw pads, that's another thing that we actually see quite a bit. Yeah, it's easy to forget about how hot that pavement really gets. There is actually, I think it was one study, they said like if it's 95 degrees outside, the asphalt reaches up to 149.
Yeah,
so easily. So very hot. And so, like a simple trick for that is you can just lay the back of your hand down on the pavement for 7 seconds. If you can hold it there for 7 seconds, then your dog's good. If
Really?
You can, if it burns your hand, that means it's too hot for your dog. So that's just an easy trick you can do at home too. But that's the main thing with the heat. And I would say probably the other common thing we see is toxins. So whether it's food, chemicals, plants that our pets get into the trash, and there's a medication in there that they shouldn't have gotten. Those are very common as well. So my advice is if you're unsure, you can always give us a call, or those emergency clinics that are open 24/7 in Missoula. They also have a cool pet poison helpline phone number. number that's open 24/7. So you can reach out to them, tell them your situation, see if it's something you should worry about, bring them in. And they also are now getting creative. They're making phone apps that you can download, and it'll tell you the different toxins, what signs to watch for, what to expect, when to take them in, if you should take them in. So yeah, that's definitely something that we see a lot of. But when in doubt, the sooner the better to get them seen.
Let me get back to the burnt paw pads, especially again this time of year with this heat wave we're having. Is that I'm sure your dog might be limping or just walking gingerly. Is it something you can see on the surface? Is it an internal?
It is on the surface. You might notice initially that your dog's a little tender when they're walking, but if you actually look on the bottom of their paw pad, usually it looks like a little sore, like a red and swollen.
Sure.
It looks like a piece of their paw pad might have came off. Sometimes you get like little blisters.
Right. It's almost similar to what, we look like when we have a blister that's popped. It's kind of that skin is sloughing off and it becomes really raw and sometimes can, ooze. And so that's really, really painful if you think about the times that maybe we've worn too new of shoes, too early on and haven't allowed for them to break in. And we get those blisters on the back of our ankles. That's kind of what it looks like to a dog's paw pad. So pretty painful for them. And like Nicole was saying, it's really hard sometimes for pets to express pain. So sometimes they're not limping and sometimes they aren't showing those signs. So it's important for us as pet owners to be responsible for making sure that it's safe for them to be outside.
Right. Missoula Real Estate Today presented by Diane Beck and Becky Peterson, the Beck and Beck team at Windermere Real Estate here on News Talk KGVO. My guests this week, Cassidy Boland, hospital manager, and Dr. Nicole, one of the veterinarians with Pruyn's Veterinary Hospital here in Missoula. Oh, also thanks to a couple of Diane and Becky's marketing partners that also helped bring you the program. Miles Link at Opportunity Bank of Montana and Rob Fleming with Man Mortgage. And Cassidy Boland, want to get back to you. The name Pruyn's synonymous with veterinary care in Missoula, been around a long time. What community events does Pruyn's like to be involved in away from the office where we might find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we really like being involved in our community. So you can often find a lot of our staff members volunteering at both either the Poverello Center or the Johnson Street Shelter. We do what's called, we work with a nonprofit organization called Street Dog Coalition, and the Street Dog Coalition is in place. It's actually based out of Colorado, but one of our doctors kind of runs the coalition here in Missoula, and they provide free veterinary care, vaccinations, and some procedures to pets and people that are homeless or near homelessness. So it's really, really important for us to give back to the community. So that's one of the events that you might see us at. The schedule for those can usually be, discussed with the Poverello Center. So if anybody's interested in those, they can definitely check in. Another event that we like to do annually is the Pet Fest down at Karis Park in August each year. So that's a really, really fun event. Obviously really focused on pets, which is fun for us. It's really, really hot, so important to make sure that, if you're bringing your pet with you, make sure that they have proper care and water. But we will be there August 24th this year, so welcome to, stop by our booth and see us and chat with us. And we always have some fun games and prizes to win as well, so we look forward to seeing everybody there.
You're always looking to improve your services at Pruyn's. Are there things you have done recently that you feel have made visits for owners and their pets, hopefully, more enjoyable?
Yeah.
What pet doesn't love coming to the vet, right?
Right.
Yeah, they get in the car, they pull up, they see that door, and they freak out. No, they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a couple, different ways to approach that. And so specifically for pets to make their more enjoyable, we do have staff members and doctors that practice fear-free techniques. We actually have a few of our doctors that are fear-free certified. And what that means is we are trying to eliminate that fear factor of a pet's experience when they walk in the door. So we know that sometimes they can be timid, they can be anxious. And when we're giving vaccines, we also have to protect the safety of the pet and ourselves. And so oftentimes we use restraint techniques to make sure that, every individual in the room is safe. However, some pets prefer and approach that less is more. So if it means just hanging out in a room with them, letting them kind of come to you once they begin to trust you, give them some treats, those kind of things, that seems to help quite a bit. We have some clients that have said, for years and years, I've brought my pets to the vet and they're so fearful, but when they walk into your guys' office, they don't have that, they're excited, their tails are wagging, which is a good thing for us. So we're really happy to build that trust with the pets. And so we're really proud to have, fear-free techniques involved in what we do. On the client perspective, we understand that veterinary care can be really costly. We talk a lot about health insurance for your pets. It's something that's not discussed enough, I think. But one thing that we've done to kind of navigate the expenses of veterinary care to be a little bit more like budget friendly is we've brought in wellness plans. So kind of what those are, they're a set of services that we provide for a client and for a patient. If they want to get their pet signed up on a wellness plan, they can come in and see us without the stress of how much that appointment's going to cost. And so there's certain services that are included. It's kind of like a monthly fee at that point that they can budget, what their veterinary care is going to be for their pet throughout the year. On that, too, they have an additional discount that's associated with those wellness plans. If, let's say, they need to have some kind of services provided outside of what's a part of their plan. So those kind of things, I think, help, bring down the burden from the client's perspective of, gosh, I'm about to take my pet to the vet and I only want to do it once a year because I know how expensive it's going to be. If we, kind of close that gap between costs and, bringing your pet into the vet, then we are hoping to see that pets are going to be coming in more often and there's not that, associated fear of, I don't want to call the vet or I don't want to bring my pet in because I know it's just going to be, hard on me financially. So we're really, really proud of our wellness plans. I think it gives our clients a lot of peace of mind, and it continues to help us build that, client-patient relationship, or that doctor-patient relationship to eliminate that fear that it has when pets come in the door as well. So.
Wow, great answer. How about me as fear-free certified? Are you two doing okay? Are you?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Yeah,
we're doing great.
Yes. Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck and Becky Peterson, the Beck and Beck team at Windermere Real Estate on Newstalk KGVO. My guest, Cassidy Boland, hospital manager, Dr. Nicole, veterinarian with Pruyn's Veterinary Hospital. And I'm going to ask you both this. I ask every guest about success stories. Anything come to mind you've recently found especially rewarding? As I'll start with you, Cassidy, as the hospital manager.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it's sometimes hard to narrow down just one thing that's rewarding because when you work in a field that you're passionate about, you feel like there's kind of a reward in everything that you do. Working with such an awesome team, people like Dr. Nicole make it really worth it for us. But it's really cool to see that our hard work and our teamwork is recognized. So this last year, we were actually awarded what's called the Stan Crayons Award for 2023 within our organization. So this award was granted to us thanks to our team's efforts in excelling expectations for teamwork, leadership, and commitment to outstanding care. And on top of all of that is client service, obviously. So we're really proud of that award that was given to us on behalf of how well our team does with the patients and clients that we see. And then a lot of veterinary hospitals have the option to be what's called an AAHA accredited hospital. So AAHA stands for American Animal Hospital Association, and we have been really fortunate we had redone our accreditation last year actually, so we'll be accredited for the next 3 years now. But that means that we have passed over 900 standards of care in veterinary medicine. That basically just amplifies that we really hone in on the quality of care that we provide for our clients and our patients. So to know that we've passed that and are now an AAHA accredited hospital again for the next 3 years is really something to be proud of.
How about you, Dr. Nicole, as a veterinarian?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Cass was saying, I mean, there's a lot of different cases that we're proud of or excited about, seeing a pet walk in super sick and then walk out the door feeling better. I mean, that's always feels good, but the biggest thing is just, at work, it's such a good work culture. And everybody I work with, we have the biggest hearts, or they have the biggest hearts. And that's true for all of vet med, but we do care about the pets and their clients alike. And it's just a special place to work at.
Missoula Real Estate Today has been presented by Diane Beck and Becky Peterson, the Beck and Beck team at Windermere Real Estate. Great guests this week, Cassidy Boland, hospital manager, and Dr. Nicole, veterinarian with Pruyn's Veterinary Hospital. Locations, hours, contact to find out more. What do we do?
Yeah, of course. So we are open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're closed for a 2-hour gap on Wednesdays for staff meetings from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. As far as contact information, we have a website. It's just www.prynvet.com.
Okay.
Our phone number, you can always give us a call during our operating hours, which is 406-829-8150. And if you are new to the area and just want to establish veterinary care somewhere, or you haven't had the chance to come check out our new building, we are located at 2802 Great Northern Loop, which is right next to Missoula Bone and Joint for some folks that are local.
Cassidy Bolin and Dr. Nicole with Pruyn's Veterinary Hospital. You two have been great guests. I hope you can come back.
Yeah, thank you so
you.
much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck and Becky Peterson, the Beck and Beck team at Windermere Real Estate.